Hey, welcome back. This is Daniel Bobinski again, and I want to talk with you about the benefits of emotional intelligence. Why should we learn this, right? Well, I'm going to give you three examples. One is about research that was done in 200 companies worldwide. They wanted to find out what's the difference between an average performer and a top performer, right? Notice that we're not finding out what the difference between a poor performer and a top performer is. What's the difference between an average performer and a top performer? Because we're all at least average performers, right? So how do we bump ourselves up to being a top performer? That's what they wanted to find out. Well, their research was quite telling. If you are in a position of middle management or a technical position, 2/3 of the difference between an average and a top performer is emotional intelligence. Now, that number goes up if you are in senior management or in leadership positions. 4/5 of the difference between average performers and top performers is emotional intelligence. So, if you'd like to move up to being a top performer, chances are that if you will learn emotional intelligence, you have a better chance of being recognized as a top performer. So that's a global study. Let's take a look now at a very small study, a one-person study, and that would be a client of mine named Jim. Jim was a business-to-business salesperson working straight commission. He'd been with this company for 5 years. He said, I'm making about $80,000 a year every year. I think I can do better. I want to know how. Work with me on this. So I worked with him on learning emotional intelligence. We studied the different styles. He learned how to adapt his style, practice emotional intelligence. And the very next year, Jim's sales went to $120,000. He increased his annual income 50% just by learning and applying emotional intelligence. Nothing else changed in the business world, just him being able to apply his EQ. But what about how this might work in company training with teams? I got contacted by a food processing plant in the Midwest, about 600 employees, and they had been promoting people into supervisory positions. The problem is they had over 200 grievances filed against these supervisors every year. And the cost of processing those grievances was $2,000 each. That was the average cost of processing a grievance. Well, do the math. You have over 200 grievances a year. At $2,000 each, that's over $400,000 they were spending each year just on processing grievances. They wanted to lower that number. And they said, what can you do to help us? So we analyzed the situation. I recommended our Workplace Excellence course, which has a lot of emotional intelligence embedded into it. And they said, yes, let's do it. And so we embarked on this course of training and teaching emotional intelligence. And after like 5 months, the human resource manager came into the training room and he had this chart and he showed me that grievances had dropped 65% just in those 4 months that I'd been training already. That's a huge savings, huge savings. And then at the end of the training, we did a calculation of return on investment. We counted up all of my airfare and my hotel and my car rental and everybody's food and the cost of replacing these guys on the shop floor while they were in the training class. I mean, we counted everything just against the savings from fewer grievances. And we calculated that they had a 968% return on their investment just from learning emotional intelligence. That's fantastic. There's this guy named Simon Sinek. Maybe you've heard of him. He's been around for about 10, 12 years. He's been a big name anyways for about 10, 12 years. And he's got a saying that I just love. It's, if you don't understand people, you don't understand business. It's so true because people are what make business happen. You have to understand people, you have to work with people, and emotional intelligence is the key for making that all happen smoothly. So those are a few benefits of thousands upon thousands that I could draw from. But in the next video, I'm going to go over how emotional intelligence factors into the organizational structure, where it fits, and you may learn a few things about different roles and responsibilities you haven't learned before. We'll take a look at that in the next video.